Hey, hey, what is up, guys? I'm here with James Fraser. Is that how you say it?
Fraser, like
Fraser.
laser beam.
Laser Fraser. How are you, dude?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well as one can be during a pandemic.
Yeah,
We were talking briefly before hitting the live stream about how you were getting ready to play shows and do things with a band, and COVID kind of brought that to a halt.
yeah, dude. Well, I haven't played in a band since I think 2017. I played in this band called Geminon that I had started when I was like 19 years old. And when I ended all that, I started like all of this YouTube stuff where I was doing all these songs each week and stuff. And you know, eventually I got to a point where I actually had gear to like go out and perform live. I didn't even have an amp, so I was like doing everything via VSTs and stuff like that. And I really wanted to go out and just play, even if it was by myself. So I got all the gear for that. Got this Axe Effects and got a cabinet to play through, and started rehearsing. I sent a message out to a couple of local guys to get me some gigs booked, and we got a few booked, and then it was just like, oh, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's pretty brutal because you get all excited to. There's nothing to me like I kind of forgot, but playing live to me is like the best thing of all the things that I do musically. Like making videos is cool, and making the music obviously is great, but going out and like playing loud shit is my favorite thing. And so
That's priority
it's been
number one.
it's been a long year not being able to go to shows. You
Yeah,
know.
I definitely understand. Do you also watch a lot of shows? Like, do you go participate in shows if you're not playing?
Well, I try to, but
Yeah.
I'm in Half Moon Bay, which is this little beach town south of San Francisco, and um the scene around here, especially for like national tours, is kind of changing. Like they're not coming through here as much. They're Most of them are hitting like either Petaluma or like Sacramento.
Yes, I've played Petaluma a
Um
couple times.
yeah. So I've had to travel a few times. But yeah, like I mean, there's a few places that we have in San Francisco that always get those shows like the Regency, Slims. Although Slims got closed down, I think that's the one where I saw you at was at Slims, and unfortunately they closed that club down,
It
which
does
is
sound familiar. Yeah, when the world quote unquote normalizes at whenever it does, it's gonna be weird. I feel like half the venues I've played so many times are gone, or
yeah,
like it's a weird thought to think that maybe a bunch of new venues are gonna be opening up because there's gonna be a market for it. You know what I mean? Or
yeah. That's the hope
maybe
I'm clinging on to.
yeah, or we're just gonna like skip cities because they don't have anywhere available for us. Like that's scary to think
Yeah,
about too.
yeah. We'll see how it all ends up playing out, but I'm pretty confident that once we get the green light, we're gonna see like kind of a renaissance in live music, or at least that's what I'm hoping for.
Right. I think that's what we're all hoping for.
I mean, I know that I would absolutely kill to go to a gig right now,
Yeah.
um, but you know,
I have found myself lately like watching live videos of my own band. Just being, those were the days. You know what I mean? Like I'm like
well,
already the old man who's like, I ran sound for Metallica back in the '80s. You know,
yeah,
everyone knows
that's
that
some.
guy.
I definitely feel for all the guys out there who are real road warriors, because for them it's like a complete grind to a halt. So me, I'm still like trying to get to a place where I can go tour. I've done a handful of like tiny ones with my old band, but yeah, I can't even imagine. They I've always heard about post tour depression, so I would imagine it's like that on steroids.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with the post tour depression is typically by the time you get your life sorted back out, because that's what it is, right? You go on tour, you come home, you start working your job or whatever it is that you do when
Yeah.
you're home, and then you feel that void of like you're not going constantly. And by the time you adjust, you're back out on tour. Well, I've had plenty of time to adjust. I am adjusted fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point where it just becomes overwhelming again to get back out there.
Yeah, I am actually terrified the next time we have to tour because I'm gonna feel like I've never done it. and gonna feel trash probably.
Dude, dude, I've had dreams of just being around large groups of people, like nothing specific, but it's just like, whoa, there's a bunch of people here and we're not wearing masks.
It is
you
weird.
know?
Like my girlfriend was with me watching old live videos of us, and she said, "Look at all the COVID." Just because
Yeah.
it's like a sweaty room full of people. Like we would never do
Oh,
that now.
dude. No, for sure. No,
Yeah.
I think it would be too sketch for sure.
And also before we went live, we were talking. I met James at NAM past year,
Yeah.
so a year ago. It was a pleasure meeting you. You're a really nice guy. That probably is what led me to invite you on the podcast.
Oh, well, thanks, man. You as well.
You let me try your guitar, which was sick. He plays a Balaguer,
Yeah, dude.
or multiple Balaguers, I'm sure, maybe.
Yeah, I'm only playing their stuff right now.
I
So
watched through some of your videos before we started, and I noticed you were an Ernie Ball guy before.
yeah, so I it's so funny. I pined for that Music Man for like 5, 6 years before I ever bought it. It was one of those things that was like, I'm never gonna have enough money to buy one of those.
I still don't. So
And then I did buy it, and I didn't have the money to buy it, much to my ex-girlfriend's chagrin. But I mean, she was super happy for me when I got it, but she was secretly very pissed. It's like a $3,000 guitar, man.
it is, yeah.
And
But a
but
Balaguer can be too.
oh, for sure. I
Uh,
mean, if you put enough bells and whistles on it, for sure. I really like the Music Man. It's I mean, it's like a sports car, man. It's it's
right.
it's super just sleek and geared up for fast playing and
It
all
plays
that.
itself almost.
The reason why I kind of got over it was more of like a branding thing, just like playing John Petrucci's guitar, you know.
I know
It's
exactly
kind
what you're talking about because
of
when trying all these different guitars, I don't know, there's something about making a name for yourself and having to play someone else's guitar. And like
yeah,
Ernie Ball, as far as modern metal music goes, the number one guitar they sell is a John Petrucci music. It's kind of like,
100% or
all
the
right,
Majesty now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's just
Although
I
I think
completely
the
get what you're saying.
yeah, I think the Jason Richardson model is starting to gain some traction, but um, even then, I don't even think the Jason Richardson model really is that different. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
So what happened with me and Balaguer is like I kind of had just been envisioning on my own for a long time, sort of a vintage style body, but with modern specs, like sort of like a Jazz Master shape, but a 7 string or something. And I don't even remember how I came across it. I think it might have been a Facebook ad or something. I don't know, but I just saw an ad for their guitars, and they had this model called the Growler, which is basically like a Jazz Master body style. And you could customize it for 7 strings and all this cool shit. And I was like, whoa, like this is literally got my name on it, And they were relatively small at the time, or at least relatively smaller than they are now, because it's fucking wild how many people are coming on board now. But I reached out to Joe, and I I was doing this year-long project I was doing. And I was like, hey, I put out videos every week, and I think your guitars are amazing, and I want one. And so we put in the first build, and I met him at NAM a few months later, and got my first growler, which is this Silver Burst one that I've got. That's the one that you played.
Yep.
And yeah, and I've just been rocking their shit ever since. They're an awesome company, great guys. They take really good care of me, and um, yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, they're awesome. I haven't even worked with them, and I know most of the dudes from NAM and just how cool they are. Connor, our bass player, knows Joe personally because they're from the same
Yeah,
area. So Joe seems like a really
yeah, very good guy.
talking about that project he just mentioned. I think you mentioned that to me when we were at NAM. It was like something like you had to create so much content in a pretty short amount of time, right?
Yeah, so it's this thing I did. I called it Project Nomad, because I was just kind of going all over the place stylistically. And the long and short of it was I did a song every week for a year. So I did at the end of every month, I released an EP. So I did 12 EPs and 52 songs in a
Yeah,
year.
52 songs in a year is insane.
Yeah, I
I
look
don't know
back
if you
on it.
see below your cam on my stream, but you're called a riff manufacturer because I remembered that tidbit about you because that's insane. I mean, like to put that into perspective, a touring band will typically release an album every 2 years in an album cycle, and an
Yeah,
album will have 12 songs on it. Well, you did 52 songs in 1 year, and that's
yeah,
commendable.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
It was it was just something I needed to do at the time. Wasn't something I planned on doing indefinitely. Basically what had happened was, you know, my band was kind of just floating, doing nothing. Everybody was kind of just kicking, their feet around. And then I exited like a 7-year relationship that I started when I was like 19 years old. So I'm like 26 or something now. And, you know, completely different people from 19 to 26. So
Yes.
all of a sudden you've got, you know, you're without and you need something to do, right? And so at the time I was saying to my band, I was like, because we had enough material to do another album, I was like, let's go, like I'm ready, like let's get in there and do it. And I was met with, you know low enthusiasm, and so I was like, listen guys, I have some other stuff I can work on, so I'm just going to do that. And it kind of just went from there. And the idea first came, unfortunately, from a Gary V video.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
So, you know, I have been a sucker
You
for
started writing
motivation.
music and selling stuff on eBay, bro. Finding
Yeah,
the yeah.
I've been a sucker for motivation porn in the past, and Gary V
We have
is,
all been there, man.
you're just like, please inspire me to do something. But
Yeah.
but I remember watching like a Q&A he was doing, and he mentioned something about how often to put out music. And these are rappers who are doing, it's a lot easier to make a rap song in a day than it is a full band, right? But he was, it's like, well, how good are you? If you're good enough to do one, every month, do it every month. If you can do it every week, do it every week. If you can do it
As
every
long as you're
day, do it
doing it.
every day.
Right.
Yeah. And so I was like, fuck it. So I just did it. And yeah, and that year is a complete blur. Uh I was living upstairs. The house I'm in right now, I was living upstairs at the time, and it's like a 8 by 10 room with a queen size bed, a couch, and my studio desk. So like literally no space to walk
You just had a
whatsoever.
circle with a chair in the middle of it, just rotating around your life in a room.
Literally,
I've been
literally,
there. I've
dude.
been there
It was
too.
fucking wild. Plus, my studio lights are all set up in there as well. So it was just a jungle. Not a single woman came in there that whole year.
Hey
And
man, what? How do you think you got all that stuff done, dude?
yeah, I went a little crazy doing it. I was like, I remember I was watching like David Goggins. Do you know who that is? David Goggins, like the
Someone
ex-marine.
someone mentioned him like yesterday. Talking to
Yeah. So he
he's
has this
also another one
quote.
of those big names about motivation and
Yeah. But he's the real deal. Like there's no secret strategies. He just says like, you have to suffer, man. You have to be willing to suffer. So I went crazy and I got this like 6 foot long decal in old English that just says suffer, and I put it on my wall. And I just had that on my fucking wall. I stared at that shit every day while I was just cranking these tunes out over and over again. And looking back on it, you know, it didn't really take off the way like the way anyone would
yeah,
hope it would.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it was only upside that I got from doing that. Like
Well, I'm
I
sure.
got better at recording,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
you
I'm
know.
sure you learned a lot.
Yeah. One of the things I learned the most was that we overthink a lot of shit, as musicians.
Yes.
Like a lot of guys who are at home, like they're probably just like me, and which is they're sitting on like, 60 demos of little riffs and ideas, but they never finished it and like, turned it into a complete song. But it's just you know, having to come up with it, record it, film it, edit it, and put it out by a certain time every week. It really just forces you to make decisions, You know what I mean? And to not, babysit shit
Yes.
material for 6 months like other people
And
do.
I've also heard that that's a great quality to have too, because then you make like almost just executive decisions on the fly. Because I know for a fact I've seen riffs or songs get picked apart and made shittier because we couldn't come to a decision on it, or it just doesn't get
Right.
used. I think it's better in the long run to just release something and move on than it is to constantly rework something and let it
Yes.
sit in a
100%.
closet. Especially with the way music evolves too, right? Like metal is so much different than it was 5 years ago, and that's not a long time.
No.
If you sit on a riff for 5 years, that riff probably isn't even that viable anymore, and it's just kind of
It's
like,
not even hot. Yeah.
yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah.
there's no point
It's
in picking it apart.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of the material uh from that year is material that I sat on for years, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I put it out because I just wanted to be done with it, not because expected it to go, you know? So
and not only that, but you never know what someone's gonna like either. You could
that
put,
is that's it, dude. That's
yeah,
it right there,
you
man.
could
That's
put
the
something out that you probably don't even like, but you're like, it'll just
yes.
fill my catalog,
Yes,
and
man.
then that's like your top song. It's like, what is
Dude,
happening?
absolutely. And like, you really have to put out some volume in order to really understand that. That's the other like super valuable lesson I gained from the whole thing was uh what you think is hot is probably not, and what you think is trash is also probably not.
Yeah.
You don't decide, the market decides, right?
Yes.
So, I did a bunch of the way I started out my YouTube channel was I was doing video game covers, primarily World of Warcraft covers. And um, the shittiest one that I put out, at least shittiest by my standard, meaning that like I thought the recording wasn't that great. I thought the video was super dumb and just poor quality. Like I just really didn't deliver on it. It's my highest viewed video on my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
right? It's the one that went. So it's completely out of your control. So therefore, you don't need to stay with shit for such a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to express that to most musicians in general, but just because,
Well, it's hard too because you know, we're romantic with our music. It's just the way we are. It's an expression of ourselves, and we want to express ourselves perfectly or something.
right.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So people, so therefore people are waiting for, well, if I can get the right musician to play drums, or maybe when I save up enough money for an Axe effects and I can reamp all the guitars, then I'll be ready to put, just a bunch of bullshit excuses to put it out. Like I recorded most of those songs with Bias Effects, Tone Forge, and Superior Drummer 2, which is like 10 years old.
Yep.
So,
I used
just do it.
Bias Effects for a long time. I actually think it was like the leading software until like the Neural STL, all that stuff came out.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a company that has just left everyone behind.
Yeah.
I just did a demo of like their the Gojira
The
plugin.
Gojira plugin, dude. Oh man, I can't wait to get my hands on that.
Dude, it's outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, like, someone told me a rumor at NAMM last year, which that was before COVID. So like everyone kind of went back to bedroom guitar playing for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They said they were done doing the neural like signature stuff, which
Interesting.
because they
Well,
really
maybe they had
wanted.
to pivot.
Well, yeah, they had to push the quad cortex, and they really wanted that to take off, but no one's touring, so like it's like.
It's rough.
And then they released that Gojira thing, and I was like, oh, they're doing it now. Like they're just giving every metal musician's like favorite tone, and
Dude.
I'm waiting for the Opeth and Meshuggah neural, and then we'll just be
Yeah,
like,
dude.
all right,
We'll just call it a day. That's the series finale.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah, everybody can go home. What's crazy about the plugin is, and I got the one right before it, the Nolly plugin. I think that's a really great one as well. And I'm actually using, I did a Christmas Carol cover on my YouTube channel, and I'm using the Meshuggah preset of that
from
plugin.
yeah.
It's called Future Chug Machine, and it's excellent. But
There's a couple straight out of the box of that one I use. Like I think Blood Eagle. Like if I'm doing anything arrow related, I can just load that preset up, and I'm like set.
Yeah, and then the Gojira plugin, I did like a little high pass and a little low pass EQ, and that's pretty much it. Like
Yeah.
it ships, you know. So I'm pumped off of that. It really, as I'm talking about this, I'm staring at my Axe FX3, which has a very solid coating of dust on the
You
top of
have the
it.
3? Dang.
Yeah, dude. I decided to waste all of my money on it.
Don't say waste, bro. You know you'll
No,
use that thing, especially
I
when
will for
the
the
world.
live.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's funny. I think you and I had actually touched on this topic at NAM, which was that, you know, the appeal of Neural's plugins is the simplicity. You know, there's not a whole lot to
Yeah.
get lost in. You know what I mean? It's like some mic placement, a couple of effects
User
pedals.
interface.
Yes. Whereas the Axe Effects is a fucking nightmare, to
It
be
is.
completely
Yeah.
honest. You know, and to tweak it and get it the way you want, it's a lot of actual buttons and knobs and shit. And like, you know, I have the software um that works, but like I said, there's just too many
Axe edit
options.
or whatever.
Yeah, there's just too many options. And what I realize is that I am not the guy who wants to spend, 4 hours tweaking his guitar tone. I really just want to get in there. Like, I don't care about creating my own unique tone. I just want it to sound good.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
very surprised you bought an Axe FX in that case because, man,
Yeah.
I once spent 40 minutes just trying to put a cab sim on an Axe FX once, and from
Yeah.
then on, I was like, nah, I'm not
Dude,
doing
that's
it ever.
exactly that was the final nail in the coffin
Yeah,
for me too. I found this Frederick Nordstrom, is that his name? Like the guy who did all the Swedish melodic death metal bands. He had an IR pack that I bought because I wanted to basically sound like old In Flames records.
right.
And to get it to work on the Axe FX3 was so much Googling and forums and
Yeah,
trial and error. And I was just like, and then I bought, I think it was the Pliny archetype plugin. And I was like, well, shit, like
yeah, yeah.
stuff sounds
That's
pretty solid.
so the reason I like Neural is because it's good out of the box. It's great. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't get any better than that. You know what I mean?
I
But
think the move, go on.
the thing I respect about the Axe FX is that it almost has no limits. So when you take someone like Aaron Marshall or like any of the Periphery guys who just have Axe FX figured out, like
Yeah.
they just keep creating amazing things out of that box because there's not really a ceiling to it. So
Yeah.
I admire that. But even then, at the end of the day, like guitar will never be perfected either, right? Like,
Right. I think it's really for people who enjoy that journey, that pursuit of the tone,
I do and I don't,
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear it in your head and you're really just trying to make that real, and whatever you got to do it, so be it.
It's funny you said at the beginning of this, like you were like buying amps and stuff because you wanted to play live. It's like nowadays, dude. I mean, I talked to Bob from Fit for a King not too long ago, and for their live playthrough, he did STL tones instead of an amp, and it's just like,
Fuck.
it's like I think you're headed in the wrong direction. But I'm the same way.
I just want to feel air, when I'm on stage. So
Me too,
it's not
brother.
that's it. You know what I mean? Because that's the juice for
Yeah,
me.
it is for
like
me
the
too.
wall of sound. I think what I might end up doing. I mean, I don't know. I'll probably keep the Sax effects. You know what I mean? But I do want to try the attraction of the Neural box is the fact that it is what the unit and the foot pedal all in one. Because like if I want to buy a foot pedal for this thing, it's like $1,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
Which
fucking nonsense.
they made an onboard foot pedal all in one, right? It was called something else.
Axe 8, yeah.
Yeah. Which is cool.
For sure.
But I have a hard time justifying like slamming my foot on a piece of hardware that costs that much money too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's the beauty of like the Boss pedals. You're just like,
Yeah. You could literally put a steel toe boot on and take all your aggression out of the day on one.
And when you're playing aggressive music,
you foot pedal aggressively.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, let me load up my template here. Um, yeah, we were talking about how much we kind of miss Nam. Was there any stuff you were like excited for or like wanting to check out again or?
Um, it's I really just I look at NAM personally as like an opportunity to become a better like member of the industry, I guess. Like
Yeah,
it's an opportunity
connection
because
making, relationship
well,
building.
but not you know, I've been to NAM like 4 or 5 times now. And this past one was really the first year that I was like, I'm really only here to, promote my guitar company and to hopefully meet some people, you know what I mean? And just make some like genuine connections
Yeah.
rather than trying to, okay, I got my list of 12 companies to go talk to them, shake the hand of all the artist
Yeah,
reps
yeah.
there, and then I'm gonna follow them up with emails and all this bullshit. And you know, it was my first year sober at NAM too. So
Ooh.
that was rough.
You missed out on the after parties or did you just participate sober?
I went, you know what I mean? I just didn't go until, 3 a.m. like other people. And I met up with a few people who are also sober, and that was helpful. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, the thing I like the most about NAM is it like is kind of like an exercise and just how to carry yourself in those situations. Because I'm out here in Half Moon Bay, dude. Like there's not a lot going on, in the scene, right? Unless you go to shows. So, but I was looking forward to seeing, the new models that Joe's got lined up, which I can't actually say out loud what they are yet, but I know what they are, and they're gonna be pretty fucking sweet. And the neural stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always I know you play Ibanez, so don't take this the wrong way, but like I always go to the Ibanez booth like just hoping for, you know, the next thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love going to that. I love going to that booth because it's so fucking impressive, right?
I think the problem Ibanez has too, and I have a problem with Ibanez in this regard, is they're such a massive company, they're oversaturated.
That's why I didn't go with them.
So even going to their booth at NAMM, there's like 4 amazing, incredible, solid guitars every time they release a new line, but there's also like 10 really whatever guitars every time they release a new line.
Like, damn.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's
damn.
just because they're freaking huge. Like,
Yeah, because they can.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the
They're
same
just,
reason you don't go to the Gibson booth or like Fender booth.
yeah.
Or it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what
But
you're
then,
gonna
and
get.
like also that type of company is really coming up, right? Like people have money. We all work jobs. We can spend money on a guitar, so why not go with one of these companies that can give you exactly what you want, spec'd out? That's
Yeah.
like becoming more popular too, like especially thanks
Exactly.
to Kiesel, Balaguer. Aristides is pretty much doing that too. I don't think they have any stock models that they just sell. I think it's all like you just send us your
Yeah.
specs. Yeah.
Yeah. I've played Aristides before. They're really fun.
They
I don't know
feel
if I
great.
Yeah, I just can't really get past the look personally, but I think it looks great on other people,
How do you feel about
you
those
know?
new tellies, dude?
I checked that one out. I think they had one last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty sick. I was more into that
Yeah.
than the others.
Then the other one's looking like a literal spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried the Abassis. Those are sick.
Those are
I actually
sick.
think that those guitars look really sick. I get like the same like it's a Tosin guitar, so I don't know if that's really, I mean it
Yeah.
might and you have to be able to separate it, right?
Hey man,
You got to be able to like own a guitar just because you want one,
Les
not because
Paul
you're
was first, just Les Paul's guitar. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, fair enough. I
I
guess
I
you're
get
right.
exactly what you're saying though. I get exactly what you're saying.
But like, you can also just buy shit because you want to buy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that choice of sobriety, if you don't mind. I didn't know
Sure.
that you were sober. I've been sober for almost 10 years.
Wow.
So
Goddamn, son.
we could have hung
Well,
out. We could have hung out, dude.
that's that's very inspiring. That's
But
cool, man.
unlike you, I didn't participate in the after parties. I truly no-lifed it. I was going to like a LAN cafe in LA after every day and playing League of Legends for hours on end. So
that is the nerdiest shit ever.
yeah,
That's awesome. And I'm actually very upset that we hadn't met sooner.
yeah. Well,
Because that would have been so fucking preferable, dude.
Oh
Man.
yeah. I mean, after a day of walking around the convention center, I can't imagine doing more. Like I had to go to a dark room and unwind on noobs on the internet because
And
I
that's
just
what I ended up doing last year. I just went back to my hotel room and
yeah
just kicked it by myself, you know, and like just try to decompress. It's hard for me personally. And this might just be an insecurity thing, but like it's hard for me to get past like the high school vibe of NAM, where you're just like walking around, because you know I'm not with gangs of people at NAM. You know what I mean? I'm usually lone wolfing it, and I'm walking around and just like that person's there, that person's there, that
yeah.
person's there.
It's overwhelming because there's a lot of people and a lot of them are pretty badass.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot. And I realized that it's why I got fucking trashed the first few years that I went. I also was 23 and 24, I think, the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
times I went. So that's part of it. And you know, I did the NAM thing where I started drinking in the morning and was just hammered at the actual event. Yeah, because that's what everyone in my hotel room was doing.
Yeah.
You know, just embarrassing the shit out of myself, like some Disneyland shit, like walking up to like walking up to Tosin Abasi and just completely interrupting a conversation he's having with someone else, and he's just giving me a look like, what the fuck are you doing, right? And then you walk away just like with that awkward smile on your
So
face.
you were
like,
literally achieving the opposite of what you needed to.
yeah, 100%.
I get
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
for sure. I've made a lot of fucking mistakes, dude. And
hey, we all have, bro. We can all admit
yeah.
that.
I think I'm really trying to be more honest about sort of owning up to the mistakes that I've made, and like the mindsets I've had that are bullshit, and you know, just sort of getting not getting over the whole projecting your insecurity onto other things, like criticizing other things, you know.
Yeah, that's a big
When
thing
it's
in our scene too, right? Like,
oh, it's awful. It's like it's been around forever, and
yeah.
I just realized that I was like playing a part of it, and so now I'm trying to step
I
out of
think
that shit.
yeah, so you can like go to a metal song on YouTube and scroll down and just read "fucking sucks," "tones shit," "mixing sucks," and if you go to a country music video and it's supposed to be like, "Hell yeah, man, this song's awesome, dude!" like, sadly it's a genre specific kind of thing, I think, and it's
man, I did for the first time ever. I did a video release on my YouTube channel set as a premiere. It was this WoW cover, and I'd spent, you know, like probably 40 to 60 hours on making this cover. I spent, you know, hours. I guess because I spend too much time on it, but I spent, you know, that's why it's good to have deadlines. But I spent hella time making thumbnails. I've really been putting a big emphasis on thumbnails now. And so I got the thumbnail done, and I set the premiere for like the following morning, and I go to check on it to see if there's any comments, and all I've got is 1 thumbs down. You know what I mean? And it hasn't even come out yet, you know. So it's
right. Someone's like, you know what? Just fuck this guy, and then he just threw that in there. Yeah.
But that's the internet for you. I mean, my first experience with like internet trolling was, and this is really gonna age me, but do you remember all the shit so and so say videos, like shit mom say, or
oh well, I mean, they're still
shit girls say
going for sure, but yes,
people are still trying to rehash that shit for sure. But anyways, when that fad first came out, me and my best friend Jesus, we decided to do one for metalheads, so we did shit metalheads say, and that's on my old band's YouTube, but that shit's got like 330,000 views or something like that now. Like it went pretty viral, and the names I was called in those comments, dude, it was just outrageous. And like, you know, I was talking about a lot of core bands, so they're like, this isn't metal, this is all core. It should be like shit core kids say or something.
And you weren't lying. You know what I mean? It's just people just feel yeah.
And like all it was, dude, was me and my friend, like that morning until that night when we went to school, because we were going to San Francisco State at the time, just filming shit on my phone. And I just came home, edited it, threw it together, and it kind of popped off a little bit back then. But man, like it's toxic, you know.
The more attention you get, the more hate you're gonna get. That's definitely
But I realized that, you know, I was I was kind of participating in that behavior, like in a more private way. Like I'm not gonna fucking type shit, you know what I mean? But like I would sometimes think it in my head. So I had to get over that. But we got completely off the original question that you asked me about why I'm sober.
Oh
But
yeah.
just to touch on that, I
Well, I guess first, are you sober always, or were you just sober for Nam?
um I'm so when I say sober, I specifically mean drinking.
Okay.
Like I don't drink anymore. I was using like medical marijuana for a while for to like unwind before bed, in a very like measured way, but I realized I wasn't getting good quality sleep, so I don't even do that anymore. So I
Really?
guess
That's
yeah.
crazy. I mean, I feel like everyone's like, I smoke before I go to bed to sleep better, but it's interesting to hear you actually say, like, I
Well,
wasn't.
you'll fall asleep, but you'll wake up like you woke up in the ocean, you know, like
Right. Yeah.
clawing to get out, desperate for coffee. But yeah, I work at a brewery, and so I'm just around that shit all the time. And you combine that with being, an insecure musician who's on his own trying to carve out a name for himself on the internet and getting no love.
Yeah.
I think it kind of happened progressively. I don't think I'm like an alcoholic, or like I don't go to meetings and stuff like that, but it runs in my family. And my brother struggled with substance abuse and things like that, so I'm very conscious of any behavior that is going too far. And I think what happened was one night it was like 3 a.m. and I was staring at my ceiling, like just riddled with pain, and like my stomach was bothering me. I was just assaulted by these voices of anxiety and stuff, like, did I really say that? Did I really do that? And I was like, bro, it's Wednesday. Like, what are you doing? You
Yeah.
know, like you have shit that you want to
You were like,
do.
damn, dude, I'm so healthy. I it's good. It's good that you can like you can like nail it right down to the moment, cuz like there's so many people who are just leading incredibly toxic, unhealthy lifestyles, but they
Yeah.
just don't see the wrong in it. You know, they're just so used to it and it's a pattern and it's easy for them to continue to do it. But that makes me
Yeah.
happy to hear, man. Like I don't even know you that well, but anyone who's improving their lifestyle, I'm
Well,
for.
thanks, man.
Yeah, of
I
course.
appreciate it. And it was I think one of the reasons why I put it off for so long, because I've thought about doing it for years, you know. One of the reasons why I put it off was because I cared so much about like what my friends were gonna say and think. Because like I said, I work at a brewery, and all my friends, like you work at a brewery, like you drink,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
what do you guys want to go do this weekend? Oh, let's go to Alvarado Brewery down south, you know what I mean, or something, and drink all day. And so I had to like take that leap and basically think some of my friends might not want to kick it with me anymore, which I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
None
yeah,
of my
yeah.
friends, like, they were uncomfortable at first. I think they were just insecure, like, like I was criticizing them for doing it or something like that, even though it's never said anything like that
Right.
ever.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but now it's just like it's not even a thing. Everyone in my life knows that I don't drink, and um I don't even think about it, honestly, at all anymore.
Yeah.
Some every once in a while I'll get a Facebook notification of like a celebration of like the last time I drank or something like that. But I just don't think about it anymore, and I am a much more productive person, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you spend all the time you spend drinking, and this by no means is this just an advocate for everyone should stop drinking. People can drink.
No. No way,
Um,
man.
but my
Yeah.
life improved when I quit drinking. Yours seems to have. Um, but it's kind of like everything, right? Like everything's healthy in moderation.
Exactly.
If you
And
spend a lot of time doing something, you just need to make sure is that time that you want to spend doing that specific thing, because you can always pivot that time to something more productive.
when I've spoken to friends and like, like significant others about it, I explained to them why I stopped, because of like it made me feel this way, or I felt like I was perceived this way, and they would all tell me like, you know, we never thought that about you, like you never like seemed that out of control or anything like that. But I think, you know, musicians who are trying to carve out an actual career for themselves as a musician, meaning like something that they can pay their bills with. I think you really have to take advantage of every like edge that you can find. And for me, it was just like, you know, do I really need this shit right now, or should I just focus on what I'm doing? So when people ask me if I'm never going to drink again, I just say I don't know, but I just don't care enough to do it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got shit that I want to do, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, let me
yeah.
tell you, when you get on tour, man, it's freaking everywhere.
Bro, and that was hard too. Going to shows
Yeah.
was really hard.
Yeah.
Going to shows was fucking hard. And you know, I used to go to like, I love folk metal, so I would go to like, you know, Ensiferum shows and like, you know, or Korpaklani, like bands who have songs called Vodka, you know, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
the whole thing you do is get shit faced and, you know, mosh pit and circle pit and do the boat shit on the ground, you know, just having
God.
a grand old time. But like I said, it's working against me at the moment, so I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah, I feel that. That's awesome.
10 years is very, very impressive though.
Yeah, I stopped
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
28. So I stopped before I was 21. And the entire time I toured, I started touring when I was 20, so I was sober then too. So I just I mean, it's like you said, after 1 year you stop thinking about it. After 10, dude, you look at alcohol and you're just wondering what that even is. You're just like
Yeah.
You're like, is that a new soda pop? Like you just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, and you know, because I still work at the brewery, it's so fun. It's
That
one of my
I could
favorite
imagine being difficult, but at the same time, like I've never
fine.
worked in a brewery, and everyone I hang out with is still like, "Why do you not drink?" So it's just like it doesn't. I can't imagine.
Just lie, bro.
Yeah,
That's all you do. You just lie. People are like, what's your best IPA you got here? And you're just like, oh, dude, I've been just killing this one right here. It's my favorite one right now. It tastes like this, that goes really nice with a fish and chips, dude. Just go for that one, dude. That shit's bomb. And they're just like, oh, thank you so much for your recommendation. Can I buy you a shot? I'm like, I can't, man. I'm on camera. Sorry. You know.
Nice.
It's that easy.
Yeah. Luckily, I've submerged myself into the coffee world, and that is my one and only drug that I am quite addicted to. But
yeah, you are really about those leaf cappuccino.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking hard.
So you make those? Is that it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a barista right now. It's just part of the game. You just got to do latte art, and that's essentially you're pouring milk in a cup. Yeah. But it is an incredibly difficult task to pull off.
Dude, I tried it. I worked at a Starbucks when I was younger for like 2 or 3 years, but we never did shit like that.
Yeah.
No.
My managers have won like nationwide competitions and shit, so they're psycho.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in it for some reason. Like I think they walk away with like couple grand, some merch and stuff. It's like, okay.
There's money in everything except music.
I could make a more prolific amount of money pouring milk into a cup than I can.
I could just start a reaction channel and have infinitely more success than everything else.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second, because my band will release a song and there will be 800 reaction videos the next day. And it's like, my God.
What's that like for you?
It's cool. It's cool because I can literally, it's like watching, it's like, you know, when you're younger in a local band and you show your friend the CD in the car and you're like, yo, check this out. It's like that over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool, like getting instant reactions.
Yeah. And I feel like as the creator of the music, like the real magic for you personally comes at the moment of like creation, and then
someone receiving it.
When it's finally given to the people, and all that time in between, you never want to hear it again.
But I used to not care about reaction videos at all, but now every time we release a single, I like kind of comb through and watch some. And of course, you have to like the reason I brought it up is because you coming from YouTube, like it's so oversaturated. Everyone's doing
Yeah.
reaction videos, so I have to watch the people who are like giving me legitimate sound feedback, and then I also happen to watch some of the people that are just like, cool, and it's like, thanks. I'm really glad I just listened to my own song for the 8,000th time to hear you say cool.
Yeah.
But
Does it bother you when they pause it?
Kinda, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it does, right?
I mean, if they're gonna say something worth a while, but if you're just pausing it
Yeah.
to say some shit because you want your own voice to be heard, yeah, it's annoying as fuck.
Yeah. I feel like Nick doesn't do that too much.
Now,
I
Nick,
think.
I've had him on the podcast, and I'm biased because he's a nice guy, but he is probably
Sure.
my favorite reaction dude because he listens to the whole thing. He kind of has some funny interjections, but then at the end, he gives an honest, full-on review.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like he's pretty educated because he makes a lot of music. And there's a couple people that are coming up now that they'll just give a review, and I actually have gotten to where I'm like, man, it's cool. I'm gonna look forward to what he has to say about the next song. Or
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching Nick a lot lately just because, you know, the man is crushing it. And you know, I'm trying to like pay attention to people like in the sort of space that I'm in just to see what they're doing that works and what have you. But it's funny, like when I think about content that I want to make, for example, when I think about doing like a gear review, I'm like, no, there's people that people are going to go to watch that shit. They're going to go watch Ola. They're going to go watch, you know, Ryan, Bruce and stuff like that.
I
And
agree
reaction videos
and
like,
disagree with you on that gear review thing.
Yeah.
So I've thought about getting into the gear review stuff purely because for my genre specifically, dude, you can't find an amp with a 7-string guitar tuned in F tune. Like you know what I mean? Like there are no gear reviews for that at all. And like
fair.
yeah, and it's just gotten to the point where like I'm gonna watch this old fogey play Metallica to try to get a sense of what a metal tone is. So I'm with you and I'm not.
So you found a little space that you can carve out.
But that's even more content I'm gonna have to make, and maybe I'll get the motivation for that one day. But
yeah, well, you know, trying to determine what kind of content you're gonna make. One of the sort of toxic mindsets that I used to have regarding YouTube was, you know, I'm not gonna do that shit. That shit's stupid, you know. And right, and you know that was super wrong, right? And I realized that, you know, reaction videos are what they are because it's exactly how you described, you know, like it feels like you're experiencing it for the first time again through someone else,
right.
You know, because I used to talk shit about these videos, and then I found myself watching all of these videos.
Yeah.
Right, and then I was like, oh, they work. So but at the same time, as the content creator, as the content creator, it's like, do I want to do it? Is it something that I enjoy doing? Right. So like for me, like I did a Gojira plugin demo, but like I didn't talk about it. I just did the playthrough part.
I watched it. It was great. I loved it. You just you got everything you needed from it without you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
because you know, I watched the gear reviews, and they go into so much detail, and they're able to describe the sounds in so many different ways, and I don't know any of that shit. You know what I mean? I was like, well, this knob will make it sound slightly better, you know, and like no one. So I'm not gonna force myself to do that shit.
Yes.
I tried doing some reaction videos, and I just didn't know how I felt about it. I mean, I think if, you know, people ask me to do reactions, like any of my subscribers, then maybe I'll start it up. But it's basically trying to find that place of what are people actually going to want to watch, and what are you willing to do, and what are you going to enjoy doing?
I don't think I'm made for reaction video. Like the most views I've ever had on my channel, like Twitch streaming, was I was just like, hey, I'm just going to listen to music with you guys and talk about it.
Yeah.
And it popped off. But then like I found myself being like, why did they mix the snare this way? Like it's just not, it's not for me, man. I can't do it.
Isn't that the worst thing about like making your own music is that now you just listen to other music and you're like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
You know,
I find
like that.
myself like I could easily be one of those YouTube commenters, but I'm not a child, so I don't, throw it on the internet, and so I just,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure. Yeah, but it's I'll like.
those thoughts do come to me.
Oh yeah,
I'm reserved, and I know that they probably had a decision for why they made that. It's just,
it just is what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, so primarily what I do on my channel is covers, because I know so I did this 52-week long project, right? And over the course of that year, my channel grew by about 300 subscribers, right?
nice.
Whereas whereas with the WoW covers, in like the course of 13 videos that I released or whatever, I got my first 1,000. So, there's clearly a higher reward for unoriginal music than there is for original music.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what's cool about what you do is all video game music is badass. Like it is. Like there's a whole
yeah,
industry for it. But you take a song and make it into a metal song, and it's fresh and it's cool. I enjoy it, you know what I mean? Especially like I don't think there's any metalheads just like jamming to WoW music in their car, but they might now because you are filling that hole for it, you know what I mean? Like okay, let's talk about Galactic Empire. That Star Wars cover band. So sick.
yeah,
So sick.
nailed it,
Yeah.
nailed it.
And so I'm pretty sure I would listen to just about any style of that kind of music done that way. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I'm gonna probably. I don't want to say put it to rest, but I mean, I'm gonna.
well, you
I'm
just
going
released
to,
one like yesterday. So,
Well, no, and I did that that's intentionally.
okay,
I have a plan, but this is how my channel started in 2014 with these covers, and my skill set has dramatically improved
yeah.
since then, and so I plan on re-recording all of the WoW covers and releasing it as an album,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
trying to reach out to Blizzard and see if they can help push it and things like that.
Dude,
And
freaking Misha did a cover of a Destiny song, and then they threw it in the expansion pack.
yeah, that's epic.
So
that
sick.
sounds like something that's Misha there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I did another WoW cover, was to kind of show that like this is how it could sound now with where I'm at. So that's one thing I want to work on. I'm planning on putting out original music again, but I'm going for quality over quantity this time.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to go for EPs or anything. I'm probably just going to do singles, kind of piecemeal.
It works. I mean, that's kind of like the Spirit Box layout right now. I don't think they've written an album yet, besides their older EPs. But it's the digital age, man. You can put out music whenever you want to.
And every single thing that Spirit Box does hits hard.
Quality.
Like it packs a real punch.
Yeah.
So I think there's something. I think in the beginning, maybe quantity over quality was what reigned supreme. But I think now, because shit is so oversaturated, it's like you really want to stand out by quality, you know. And, which, by the way, your guys' new single is off the hook.
Thanks, man.
And the video is awesome. I love. I hope that you guys can pull that off. Like, get to do that live with like the backdrops.
Oh yeah, me too. That's like a hope and dream for me too. One day, it's just that shit's.
It was awesome.
Expensive.
Yeah. For sure.
We got like mad hookup on that video stuff, just because it was like kind of the peak of quarantine. Mm-hmm. Everyone was just like, we need to make money. Let's all like the company that lent us the LED screens just gave them to us for an insane cheap rate.
That's awesome. And that's what people don't realize. People don't realize how much of what goes on behind the scenes is like just kind of up to chance,
Yes.
Like, like somebody, like, who knows the headaches and crazy shit that went into making all those Spirit Box videos, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, It's all about pouring yourself into it, man. It's blood, sweat, and tears. Just like we're talking about Nick, his YouTube channel crushes it. And from an outside perspective, he just seems like a guy making YouTube, but like the blood, sweat, and tears he pours into it reaps his success. It's just everything. You know what I mean? Music videos used to be my most hated thing about being in a band because they were exhausting for almost. I can't say that. Hold on.
Not a lot of financial reward.
Yeah. I mean, well, especially financially, like you're just putting it up for free always.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're doing these insane things. I remember there was one music video we literally built the set ourselves out of wood and dirt in the woods around us, and you're filming for like 13 hours straight for one song. Like I can't imagine a band doing a music video for every song. That's insane to me. But shout out to Hometown Crew in Atlanta. They made that experience amazing. The videos are amazing. I'm for once like just super stoked on the music videos, and it wasn't that painful of an experience.
It was awesome.
But even then, like I acknowledge the hard work you put into all the videos you put on YouTube. Like it's hard work. It's not easy.
No, it's a lot. And you know, I used to look at guys like Nick or Jared Dines and stuff, and I used to think to myself, like, how are these guys doing? You know, not how are they doing it, but like how are they doing? You know, because because it's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah.
And it's like I used to think this is my incorrect thinking, but I used to think that, you know, they're not really wanting to do some of the content that they're putting out. So like, you know, they're just slaving away, you know, making these things they don't want to make, which was just a farce I made up in my head. But, you know, more recently, like this past month, I've been spending almost all day, every day, recording, filming, doing all these things. And I realized that I felt really good, you know, doing it. So
you're being productive, and it feels good to be productive and get things done.
Yeah. And you're proud of what you're doing. You don't feel like, you know, you're wasting your time or something like that. So that's how you know, I saw yesterday, like Nick posted like 4 videos in a day, and I was like, what the fuck, man?
Insane.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure that guy is probably enjoying it, you know? Or at least I hope.
Well, I'm excited to hear your original music, and I got into WoW a little bit for a little bit of time. I don't hold the nostalgia like anyone else does.
When was it?
Battle for Azeroth. And everyone's just like, oh, you fucked up. That was the lamest expansion. And you're about to say the same thing.
Just as toxic as the music industry, dude.
Yeah, it is. And completely have dove headfirst in both. I'm in the video game and the music, and I'm just a toxic piece of shit.
Dude, it's by design. You know what I mean? It's just the nature of it, especially if it's competitive, you know? So you just have to be conscious of it. But I started playing in high school in my senior year when Wrath of the Lich King was the hot thing that was about to come out.
And so people really hold that one high, right? Like that was sick.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, well, we're not going to get into that conversation, but yes, some people hold it in very high regard. But the point is that like I never played the original, right? And that's where all the purists are. So
did you play vanilla when it re-released? You did?
The classic? Yeah. So classic came out, and all of some of my best friends who originally got me to play back in high school, they were there for that, and they're like, you got to come play this with us. It's going to restore your faith in the game, all this stuff. And for a little while, I actually really did enjoy it because the game was actually hard. You know, like leveling to the top level was super difficult. And then I realized, oh, I'm not in high school.
I don't have 13 hours a day.
I have a job. But I still found a way to get to max level. And, you know, one of my friends started a guild, and we were like raiding on scheduled nights during the week. And it was fun for a little while until I realized like how insanely serious some of these guys were taking it. And long story short, I won't go too far into this, but basically I'm friends with the people who run the guild, but I suck at the game. I don't do very like high damage or something like that. And like I remember we were doing this raid and like the best sword in the game dropped and they gave it to me. And basically the guild like imploded as a result of it. And people were like whispering on Discord DMs and stuff, talking shit about me and all this stuff. And I was like, guys, we're 30. What are we doing?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so it's
so sobering. You're just like, whoa,
I had like a foresight about that, right? Because I'm the guy who I still spend too much time playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
But none of us are that age where we can do that anymore. And like re-releasing a game catered to a bunch of 30-year-olds, because that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
That literally re-releasing Vanilla WoW is like the same as like all the people who still play Super Smash Brothers Melee. Like it's just like that one specific crowd that was huge at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know many people who stuck it out. Like I don't know many people who are like hardcore playing classic WoW and are still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the attraction for me was, especially during quarantine, was getting to just hang out with my boys. And
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
so and that's where it all went wrong, because like for me that means like, you know, my best friend David and I, we're the only two guys that play League. We just play League together. I don't really play it with anyone else. And like when we're playing that game, we're in Discord and we are just talking mad shit.
You're hanging out. Yeah.
Having a ball, right? And so I was trying to get to that place with my friends in WoW, but what I realized was that every Tuesday and Thursday night for raids, I was just like push to talk, and I was just listening to a guy's like, all right, so we're gonna pull these molten elementals from the left. like shamans, make sure that you're chain heals, big chain heals.
And then at the end of the night, you're like sweaty and you're about to go to bed and you're like, yeah, what a good hangout session.
Yeah, you've got grease all over your fucking WAST keys, and like you didn't even get a piece of gear and you didn't even talk to your friends, and you're like, well, I gotta go. So that game is dangerous, you know.
Once again, a very introspective look, and I'm happy you made it. And I'm so bad about that too. Like I only pretty much primarily play League of Legends these days.
Yeah.
And I have friends that I love playing it with, but I have barely played with them because when the ranked season comes out, I'm alone just screaming and like
So it's dude, I completely get it. And my boy David and I, we decided
if you tell me you only play ARAMs, I'm gonna hang up right now.
No, okay. No, but you still might hang up on me. But we only play we only play blind, and I am, you know, I pretty much only play top lane. But
hey, that's all right. Well, how do you if you play blind? Because you can't really.
I am directly plugged in to my internet, so I am pretty much like I got TOP enter.
You have a top button.
Like I just roll across like that. You know,
there's so many people who don't know what we're talking about, but it's okay.
I've actually been reported for botting because I do it so fast. But we decided to just do blind. And for those watching who don't know what that is, that's basically like the not ranked, doesn't mean anything. Like, you know, you can do whatever, right? And the reason why we did that was because we were taking it too seriously and we weren't having fun anymore. And my friend David has had like 12 accounts banned like permanently because, like, you know, he was raging too hard.
I've had one, and it's a bad feeling.
So we made a pact together. We're like, we're turning off all chat and we're just gonna go in there, you know. Well, I don't turn off all chat because I don't do that shit, but yeah, it's a great time, and that's what I care about more these days in playing games is really just getting to laugh and hang out with my friends. You know, because I'm here in Half Moon Bay. All of my very close friends, they all don't live here anymore. They live in Washington or, you know, other side of the state, things like that. And so, you know, I just hang out, you know, with my girlfriend and my coworkers, and those people are all lovely, obviously. But you know, the only way to really hang out with my best friends is online. So
that's also something that's like that culture in of itself is just growing so much. Like I've made so many good friends on the internet playing video
Yeah.
games. And I miss touring because I would hang out with them in person every time we went to
Yeah.
their and I've made some incredible friendships that way.
Yeah. It's the part of gaming that I don't think is in the spotlight enough. It's like all of the negative things of gaming, which fair, valid,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's always what I'm going for, and I'm very glad that I snapped out of the WoW thing. It's a bit much.
But you're still playing, right?
Well, I was playing the retail version, like it's called
Yeah.
Shadowlands, the
Yeah,
most recent
yeah.
expansion. So anytime a new expansion comes out, I'm hyped about it, and I'll run through that shit. And I'll last maybe a month before I'm like, then it just becomes a hamster wheel of chores, and I'm just like, I don't care anymore
So
because
you,
like,
you never get into like the hardcore rating or anything?
no,
Yeah.
no, it's the same as classic, but just slightly different.
Yeah.
It's too much. People were, um, you know, if you're not in a guild, if you're by yourself, like it's impossible to get into anything. Everyone like is gatekeeping super hard. Like you have to have this unachievable rank achieved in order to just get accepted into groups and things. So
Yeah, I got to the end game, and if I'm gonna play a video game, I really do kind of take it seriously and try hard at it. And when I tried
yeah,
WoW, I couldn't. It just didn't stick. Like I got to
yeah,
end game, and it just wasn't happening. And I was like, I'm not gonna pay monthly to not do this. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then of course, my girlfriend bought me a gaming laptop for Christmas, which was a PC. So I'm on a Mac right now because I use Logic, but there's
Okay.
so many games that I can't play because it's a Mac. So she got me this laptop, and I'm finally playing through Skyrim like completely, like where I'm actually gonna finish the game
It's
because
amazing.
I've
It's an
never.
incredible game. It's an amazing game.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and it's totally designed to be played on a computer, not on a console.
Yeah.
But honestly, dude, like the last like few weeks, I haven't even picked it up. I haven't even turned on a video game because I've just been like every day I've been waking up and I'm just like, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like I got a Children of Bodom cover I'm working on now, and I got a friend
Nice.
of mine who's gonna guest solo on it, and like I just want to do it. Like
Yeah.
rediscovering the joy of it, right?
Yeah. Um, I had a thought. I don't remember what it was.
Dude, I have those too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's back it up some. Tell me about learning guitar and what influenced you to really pick the instrument up or try to make a career out of it and stuff.
So I've been playing guitar. Well, I've had a guitar in my hand since I was like 6. So I didn't actually start taking it seriously until I was about 10. But my dad would always give it to me, and I would just mess around with it, and he would like kind of make my hands do the chord shapes and stuff, which I fucking hated. But so my dad, he actually played with Santana in the
Oh,
60s.
crazy.
Yeah, so Santana, when they first started, like the very first version of the Santana band was called the Carlos Santana Blues Band, and it was Carlos, my dad, Greg Raleigh, who's also from Journey, and I'm forgetting the other guys' names, but they started the band. My dad played rhythm guitar, and he did that for a while. He did not make it to Woodstock. But he tells me that if he did, he probably would have, never had kids. So,
Right. Yeah.
but he eventually left the band and was doing like, you know, local band shit for a while. And he met my mom, who was a singer, and they started like a cover band, and then like that's how they got married. And like 10 years into their marriage, they decided to get sober and have kids, and then they had me and my brother. And so just from the get-go, I like grew up in their band rehearsals. So I've just been around it just, my entire life, as long as I can remember.
And then you started
But I
shredding metal, and they were like, "What have we done?"
no, not really. I mean, it's funny, like the
Do they
phase
do they
of like
appreciate the genre? Like, do they kind of get it?
they do now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's the same with like my tattoos. Like my mom freaked out about my tattoos until we just talked about it more.
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I started playing guitar really young, and I kind of came up on like classic rock shit because my parents, and then I went through a punk phase, Ramones, Sex Pistols, all those things, and then of course I discovered Metallica
Right.
and learn how to play all of their songs, which I always tell people, like, if you can play all of Master of Puppets, like the album, like if you can just work on achieving that, like you'll be a pretty fucking good guitar player. Like
Yeah.
you'll be pretty solid, dude. Like you can say that you're a guitar player.
Yes.
And so yeah, I kind of got into metal, I think, right in the beginning of high school, and like, what year was that? It was like 2005. So like metalcore was huge, right? Like Headbangers Ball and all that shit.
Yeah.
I remember getting a Headbangers Ball CD. It was like like a playlist of assorted bands, and they were all like up and comer bands. And it's like Lamb of God, Children of Bodom,
I think I had that same CD.
Dimmu Borgir, and like
Yeah.
all of these iconic bands, right? So, but yeah, I grew up taking lessons here and there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I didn't really start. In high school, I was in a band with a couple of my friends at the time, and we would just fuck around and jam out and shit. And I was thinking in my head at the time, like, this is it. These are the guys. We're gonna do it. These are the guys.
Yeah.
And then of course they like got jobs and shit, and it went into accounting and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock. Like, mad respect. It was the smart decision.
Yeah.
But,
they're thriving.
After, they really are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
they really are. And that's cool. Dude, musicians romanticize this like starving musician shit, and it's so toxic, dude.
Yeah.
It's like fucking A, man. There's nothing wrong with having a career and a band. I'm pretty sure there's a band called Haken, this progressive rock band.
Yeah, I know that like, for some reason.
And I'm pretty sure everyone in the band like is like a full blown, like, has a career and stuff, and like they just do that like as their side thing. And it's like, look at them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when I was coming up into like the sort of shred phase of my playing, I was listening to a lot of Arch Enemy.
Oh man, Michael Amott, dude.
Michael and Chris are to me like the biggest influences in my lead playing. Followed by Alexi. I loved because I was so into Bodom in high school. It was right when the Are You Dead Yet had just come out, and I've seen that band like a million times, and I was pretty devastated when when he passed away. But Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, like those guys, my dad inundated me with that stuff. And so,
as an Ibanez player, I have to be familiar with that stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, that's one of the reasons why I've always had an affection for Ibanez, because of those two guys. You know what I mean? And I think that's safe to say for most people.
Yeah. For sure.
But so, the one thing I would say that all those guys have in common is a real focus on melodic lines. And so that's something my dad has always tried to instill in me, which is like, don't forget to like tell a story with what you're playing.
As a blues player, for sure too, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so I grew up studying a lot of blues, like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix and things like that. So yeah, I would say like my playing's like pretty rooted in like blues and that sort of more melodic style of shredding. So,
which I love. Even still, I can't just sit down and listen to non-melodic like slam metal. It's just not in me. I need to hear some melody, and that's kind of how era really works too. Like we just can't. We have to make it as melodic and Freddy as possible. It's probably the word.
Yeah. And I think you guys have a really nice blend of it. His name's Jesse, right?
Jesse, yeah, the singer, guitar player.
I mean, that motherfucker has the most incredible voice. and it's like it really rips for those choruses and stuff. And then you guys, I really enjoy like the heavy moments that you have. I'm trying to remember the name of that one song. So you were on tour, was it with Currents and North Lane?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's where I first like experienced your band.
Solid show to come to. We were stoked on that one.
Dude, that was one of the best shows
Crystal
I've
Lake
seen.
too.
Oh my fucking yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I
fucking
didn't even notice that was the
unbelievable.
Crystal Lake shirt.
Oh my god, that band is absolutely incredible. But
Insane. One of the sickest bands out there, hands down.
yeah, I think the song's Breach.
Yeah, just kind of like off neon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the one that starts out super soft. The breakdown in that song. I saw you play that live, and that was my first time hearing that song was live. And I was just, dude, remember I was standing with a friend of mine and we were both just looking at each other like, fuck. Like, so you guys have, sorry, I don't mean to stroke you super hard on the podcast,
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
but like you're doing a really good job. Like,
Well,
I'm
and the
confirming
reason,
what you're saying.
yeah, the reason I say that was a good tour is because I don't know. I've been doing it for almost 8 years. We
Mhm.
finally have the lineup we want. We had a solid sound guy that tour. Like everything was
Mhm.
just coming together. We had a light show, and that tour to all of us as a band. Finally, it was a co-headliner with Northlane. It was a tour that
Mhm.
was successful while we were headlining. It just all felt like it was coming together finally after like almost a decade of being in a band. So like every
Yeah.
time I hear someone was at that show, I'm like, yes, thank you, because like
Dude,
we
I
felt
mean,
proud of that tour, and of course
yeah.
it was like one of the last tours we've done since
And
you know
I think everything was just feeding off each other that night too.
yeah
Like just because I mean I was devastated because I was running late, so I only caught like the last two songs of Crystal Lake, and who I was desperate to see.
yeah
But they didn't disappoint in those two
no
songs. Like I remember Rio, he just like jumped out into the fucking crowd.
dude,
You
Crystal
know,
Lake could just play one song and like upstage every other band that night, and it's like all right.
fucking yeah, they get down, man. And then Currents, that I had never heard of them that night. So like that night was sick because like I had gone there thinking just to see Crystal Lake and North Lane. The new North Lane album I was really into, but I
Alien's
never
so
listened to
sick.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the most amazing things I've heard in a long time. But yeah, you guys in Currents were
So
fucking
are you
awesome.
familiar with Chris Weisman of Currents is also Shadow of Intent? Have you heard that
Oh
band?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I was about to say you would
yeah.
love that band.
Oh, I did. I knew of Shadow of Intent before, and I actually had no idea that he was in Currents. I was listening to the Currents new album. That's actually one of the albums I've been listening to a lot lately, and I didn't even realize he was in it. It wasn't until I like really like looked up the band and like saw
Yeah,
who was in it.
he's
And
crushing it. He also
yeah,
just put out a song with Ryan Kirby from Fit for King, and it's sick.
I think I saw that. Yeah,
That dude just kind of like is also one of those guys that he just keeps putting out cool stuff. And
yeah, yeah. And I think I pay closer attention to the guys who just put their head down. They just let their kind of work just sort of speak for itself.
yeah,
You know, so respect. So that was your last tour, huh? So that's kind of
well, we did Europe with ABR, but then that was it. Since I mean, it's been over a year since I've played a show, and
Do you enjoy do you enjoy Europe or USA more, or are they just different?
it's different. Everywhere is super different. Uh, I mean, obviously, there's places in America I love playing, and there's places in America I hate playing. The
Yeah.
big advantage for me is we have never really been to the point to where we have a driver, and so in the States we drive ourselves, and that's miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
Oh God.
driving all
Yeah.
night and then playing a show. I've been doing it for so long. I'm over it. I'm done.
It,
And then
dude,
every time we go to Europe, we can't do that. We legally can't drive ourselves. So it's
oh
like
wow,
it's we're spoiled every time we go overseas because we like can just rest that night, and we're usually in a
that's
bus, which
awesome.
is super sick. So
Yeah.
and then it's like being on vacation, right? Like during the day, because you slept that night, you can go
Do shit.
walk around Paris and then play a show. Like it's just cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely on the list of things that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I've been trying to achieve with everything that I am doing right now, because like I said, I am writing music, and I do have some separate music that I might turn into an actual band project. It's a really nasty, angrier sounding project. Um, and so I'm putting energy into all those things, but I also am just trying to kind of create a space for myself that, if somebody needed a backup guitar player, they would be like, well, this guy isn't doing anything, and he checks off all these boxes.
Let me go
You
ahead and
know?
tell you, they do. There's always going to be there's always going to be a hole to fill somewhere for a band. You know what I mean? It just happens.
So, and what I want more than anything is just the experience. You know what I mean? I just want to go play shows. I've never done it. Like, I mean, I've played a ton of shows, but I mean, like, I want to go see parts of the world and do
Yeah.
that whole deal. You know what I mean? Because,
Yeah.
like, you know, my girlfriend and I talk about how we want to travel and shit, and I was like, yeah, I will. When I
Yeah.
when I'm touring,
Yeah.
I'll be 30 in fucking
Well, it's
July.
it's funny you say that too, though, because touring has its limitations, right? Because of the way you travel and probably the money you have on you while you're touring. I see a limited window of places when I'm on tour. So because you have to be at the venue for a certain amount of time, you see
Right.
probably a couple mile radius of that venue, and you're stuck.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, you've been to France or Paris, so you've probably seen this. You've probably been to the catacombs. I'm like, well, no, I can't really squeeze that into my touring day. You know, like, so
Yeah.
it's funny because there's a lot of places I want to go back to in vacation, even though
For
I've
sure.
been there so many times, just because I want to experience the full aspect of it.
Yeah.
I
And also, not just seeing the places, but meeting people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I typically don't fully experience a city until we have like an off day surrounding it.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
Yeah. And those are kind of nowadays, I mean, they expect you to be in a different city every day. So it's hard to even do that a lot of times.
I know. I always imagine like the perfect tour is like, you know, one day on, one day off. But
the coolest was we went to Australia with North Lane, and they only booked shows on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So we played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we had 5 days off in Sydney.
Fuck.
And then played more shows. And that was like literally a vacation and like a dream come true. It's like, you mean I'm on tour, but I don't have to play shows for a week?
I really only hear cool shit about Australia.
It's
like
it's pretty fucking sick.
If you get over there, like, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Shows were sick,
Sure.
which of course we were with an Australian band. But dude, you'll get there, and anytime someone's like, we need a guitar player, I'll be like, check James out. He ain't doing nothing.
Well, thanks, man.
It's smart too. I mean, you know, JT, he kind of started YouTube, our vocalist.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, he was a YouTube cover screamer before he was in Texas in July, and got picked up because of. So like, you're doing it right. I think that's becoming a thing more.
I just want to whatever I do, just do it as dope as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And you know, try to get the point across that I'm a nice guy. And that would be easy to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, when it comes to playing in other people's bands, you know, where I'm not the creative force or anything, it's something I have less experience with, but I deeply enjoy, because you really just get to just, you know, show up and
riff,
just
dude.
support whatever it is that's going on. You know what I mean? You don't have to be married to every little decision. You can just be like, hey, I'm here to do a thing, and I'm just gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely possible.
See how that goes.
Yeah, I think it'll fly.
Yeah.
We covered a lot in our chatting section.
Yeah. Is there another section?
Well, like I have like a bit of a backbone to the podcast where we cover topics, but we covered a lot really chatting. It's cool. It's also interesting to know, like, I know of you as like a YouTube internet guitar player, but it's also cool to hear your aspirations, because you never know what someone's planning on doing or wanting to do from outside perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's amazing what just a conversation does.
Yeah,
you know, I think, and it's something I try to keep in mind now, whenever I'm like on social media and things like that, because, you know, you see someone that you've never been introduced to, they've got a check mark next to their name, and it's like you don't know them or what they're all about and all this stuff, but chances are, you know, they're just like you and want to do the same shit. They're too busy doing it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, yeah.
But
Not
there's
this
also
year.
a bunch of douchebag. There's a bunch of douchebags
Yeah,
too. So
there are some douchebags.
but we won't talk about them.
I guess we've covered gear, we've covered video games, we've covered a lot. Is there anything else you wanna strike home on? Is there anything?
I don't know. I mean, it's not really music related, but just what have you been doing to get through this whole thing?
Well, right now I'm working full time, just a regular job at the coffee
Mhm.
shop that I work with.
Okay,
There's talks about a promotion. I'm not even entirely sure if I can talk about that yet.
that's cool.
I'm busy. So when quarantine happened, I wanted to do what you're doing right now
Mm-hmm.
because I had a lot of time doing things with my band that just got kind of swept out from under me, right?
Yeah.
So during quarantine, I started this podcast. I started streaming on Twitch. I started working for an app that's out now. I source League of Legends content creator highlights for a highlight app that's out. So you can
Holy shit!
feel free to check that out. It's called MetaView. I'll just go ahead and plug that on my own podcast real quick.
Should we stage a league intervention for you?
We probably should, but I'm probably just gonna start making you play draft with me.
Fuck yeah, dude!
I actually am. I'm about to make a. You could probably help me with this, or I want to make a YouTube channel where everyone. It's a metalcore league team.
Uh,
So I was gonna have Ryan Kirby because he plays ADC primarily, but he has.
you need a top lane. I'm your guy. Dude.
Yeah, I have too many top laners, but I'll probably.
Or jungle. I can jungle. Okay,
all right.
I can top or jungle. I'll either crocodile or horsey.
Ooh, Renekton and Hecarim. Okay, that's your guys. Those are both very strong picks. But so I started working for an app. I basically just started filling so much time. And then once quarantine lifted, I started working 40 hours a week at a shop. So I'm just kind of like, now I'm like, oh my God, I have no time for anything.
Yeah.
Today I was off. I have Wednesdays off because I do the highlight app. I do the podcast on Wednesdays. I had to get my teeth cleaned this morning and I've been pissed off about it all day.
Hell yeah, dude.
When you get, so it's the same feeling I get when I get tattooed. I get such a shitty mood.
Really?
You don't experience that?
Well, is it anxiety or is it like
no? It's like it's almost just like if you just like poke on a cat all day, it's gonna swat at you. That's just me. I'm just like I'm tired of this feeling. I'm pissy.
Well, I don't know, man. After the neck tattoo, I don't know when I'll be getting tattooed again. That was fucking enough. You know?
Like, I bet you were pissed off that day, dude.
Well, the same guy who tattooed me, he's been tattooing me since I was 19.
Same.
And so when I texted him about doing the neck, he was like, hey, what is 2021 gonna look like? Because I figured he had to reschedule all these people, and he was just like, do you want to come over to my house on Thursday? And I was like, holy shit! And so I did, and I had to wear a fucking mask for like 5 hours while I just got absolutely murdered in my neck. So to all the guys in the scene with this shit going on, big respect.
Props to you, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there. I'll just grow a beard and hide it.
That's cool, dude. Like if I knew ahead of time, I would have been like, I'm good.
I have a little piece on my skull back here, and it was fucking miserable. It was awful. Yeah.
Do you have the chest at all?
I have like bitch script on my chest. Yeah. So nothing. Really.
I have a very, very large chest piece, and that was before the neck. That was the worst experience of my life.
Even the little bit on my sternum I hated, so I can't imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a similar experience where I was just twiddling my thumbs. Well, actually, me and my girlfriend were just hanging out every day, just going on hikes and shit. That was kind of nice. But and then we kind of opened up again for a bit, and I was waiting tables, outside. And that was just, I live in this beautiful beach town called Half Moon Bay. And on the weekends, you wouldn't even know. The only indicator that there's a virus going on is masks because there's so many people here.
I'm in the South, and there's like plenty of.
Where are you?
Alabama.
Oh, cool.
So there's a lot of non-believers out there.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
But that
we
being
get them. We get it
said,
too.
yeah. But that being said, like, dude, my coffee shop's crushing it. It's so busy, but then it's nice, but also isn't because it's like sometimes I'm
Yeah.
working behind the bar and I look out to the cafe and it's just slammed. And I'm like, what a breeding ground for COVID.
Yeah, I know.
But it's cool
But
because the shop's crushing it, and
yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if we're necessarily better off, but I mean, we're definitely not doing bad. You know what I mean? Because there's a demand for it. Like,
right, yeah,
the other day was Martin Luther King Day, and I was just stuck at the takeout window for like 6 hours straight with like just there's always someone in line.
that's sick.
But
I mean, it is good, right? Because we don't want this freaking pandemic to crash our economy.
yeah,
Like we
that's the
need
thing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a handful of people, and I don't really judge them for this. They're also younger, but people that I know who um, could have gone back to work, but opted not to, so they could, keep getting their unemployment and stuff. And I was like, I kind of get that, but if all you're doing is just chilling, it's not helping.
Well, those people will probably build a very unhealthy habit too, because when they do have to go back to work and they probably have to, dude,
How,
I made more money from unemployment this year than I did from
the
actually
first
working my
yeah
job.
the first 4 months I was making a few $100s more a month off of unemployment than I was waiting tables, which was fucking wild. I bought plugins like an asshole. I was just like, well, I got some extra money, so I'll just right. But yeah, it's
So yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard to go back to work when you're going to take less
dude, that
money
was
and
rough.
yeah, yeah.
That was rough going back after
Well,
like 3 months off.
okay, so I I was quarantined like hard, and I was like just trying to stream and do productive things. We redid a lot of the stuff in my house and hanging out and watched
Yeah.
everything that Netflix had to offer. And then I went back to work, got COVID the first day I went back to work. Came home for
Holy shit.
another 2 weeks. I think it ended up being like 3 weeks of quarantine. So I have to go back to work, not have unemployment, make my money just out of COVID. Dude, it beat my ass.
Bro.
I went
How did
like
how did
almost a
how did you go
year.
through it?
I just did it. I don't know. It's or like COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucked ass. I don't
Was
know.
it rough?
It was a really, really shitty flu, basically, but it's definitely not anything I would ever want an elderly person to have for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's crazy. Like it just started to like actually start hitting home for me. So, because of where I live, like just my little
Yeah.
corner of the world, you go out and about it, everyone's wearing
It
masks
doesn't
and stuff,
seem
but
like
like
it's real. Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's real, but it's like my uncle died like 4 days ago. And we weren't super close or anything, and he was a lot older, but that's the first time it's happened in the family. My girlfriend's grandma just passed away from it. So it's
Damn,
real
dude.
shit. It's real shit. And, you know, it really, you know, I don't know. It's just very sobering, it makes it hard to fuck off when like things like that are when you're faced with things like that. It makes you really
Yeah.
want to like wake up and do some shit. So
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's scary. Like you don't want to believe it's real either cuz you want to return to normalcy, especially with the crafts that we have set out, you know what I mean? Um
yeah.
so it's tough, man. It's really tough. I want to just keep thinking that it's going to be normal, but I've heard a lot of people in the industry saying that the vaccine is going to normalize things, but I've also heard a lot of healthcare workers say that the COVID testing isn't going to slow down even if you have vaccines, which is like I don't want to do shit where I have to get tested. Like it sucks. Like I'd rather just stay at home and work on
It's not
music or
fun.
content. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like it's weird. There's
Yeah.
also a weird culture talking about toxic like comments. The people who shame people for doing stuff during a pandemic,
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, your mask isn't over your face in this video," and it's like, dude.
It's crazy like how I call it outrage porn, but like,
You call it all
it's
porn, dude.
That's what it is, right? It's like there's times where it's appropriate to
Yeah.
react that way and
Yeah,
times
yeah.
where it's not,
Yeah.
and um,
Well, I think the main thing is like pick your battles. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Don't don't
pick the right hill to die on for
don't
sure.
see like a specific story and flame them. Like, why don't you just like kind of know if they're being conscious already or not? Like, you don't know the story.
Yeah.
But
Like,
that
I
can
mean,
also fall in line with like all the stuff we've been talking about, how toxic culture is.
yeah. And so, one of the reasons why I took off social media for 6 months was because I just realized that that's what was going on. And I just realized I was hurting myself every day by just like combing through it all the time. So I
So,
just kind of took a step
can I
back.
ask, because you're mainly like an internet content creator, did taking a break from social media kind of hurt that at all?
Did it what?
Like impact your content creation or promotion for your
Yeah.
music? And
Oh yeah. I fell off the face of the earth. Yeah. It's something,
do you regret doing it, or were you happy?
that's the jury's still out on that one. I'm still not sure if leaving made my mental health better or worse. I think it did allow me the time to develop a new perspective on how to approach using social media, because I used to like use Facebook like Twitter, where I would have a thought and like type it on Facebook, and it's like, I realized that's basically the equivalent to like a homeless dude on the sidewalk, and like every time someone walks by they're just like, new episode of The Expanse was really good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like,
Yeah.
and you're just like, you're holding out like a little cup of change, just hoping for likes and comments. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
That was the
And
best metaphor I've ever heard, I think. And it's funny you say, so my girlfriend's sister lives in New York City, which is like this insane breeding ground for this just entirely different breed of people.
yeah,
Like diehard New Yorkers are like pretty insane people already, but then you make them homeless and crazy. Dude, she told me a story, and this is, you said that, and then I immediately pictured this guy. She was on, she was on the street with her sister, and she just got coffee from a coffee shop, and he said, and I quote, "You have coffee and I don't. I'm gonna push you into the street. You're gonna die. You're gonna die." Normally, when your girlfriend tells you that a guy says that to her, you should be like, "Oh wow, I'm so sorry," but I died laughing. I was like, "That's my favorite human being." Like, that's just my internal brain externalized.
well, the homeless situation in all the big cities is really like depressing and stuff.
Dude,
But
you said you're just south of San Fran, right?
yeah,
I barely
yeah.
enjoy going to that place because of the homeless population. It is insane.
Yeah, and we just celebrate it. We're like, everyone has a place. It's like, okay, but like that's when it comes to things like that, I think I know like what to think about it, but honestly, what the fuck do I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, the social media thing, I realized that uh I was just massively narcissistic in like how I was using it. I was just dying for like social validation, you know what I mean? And not doing shit because I had something to actually say. So I told myself when I came back to social media, like, I just want to don't if you have nothing important to say, don't say it. And
Yeah.
what every little thought you have is not important,
Yeah.
right? Like, when if everybody's doing that and like you have that addiction of scrolling through that shit, you're just reading like 1,000 other people's random thoughts, and most of it is super negative because
Yeah.
that's just how it's designed. So
Yeah,
I think it helped.
yeah. It helps to think of social media as a literal tool.
Yeah,
Like, I go on there when I have something I need to promote, to talk about,
exactly.
to like, just staying on there and just absorbing information is pretty toxic.
Yeah.
I talked with a guest the other day about how I think I'm starting to get to a point to where I'm kind of getting the algorithm to work for me too. Like, if you go through your explore page on Instagram and just purposely click on the stuff you want to see more often, it does its job. You know what I mean? Like, I love the guitar culture on Instagram. I love that it's a place where you can just see amazing guitar players play all day. Really, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So like if my entire Instagram feed was just people shredding on guitar, it helps me because I'm seeing what people are doing these days, um, who's coming up in the world. You know, like it's cool seeing a guitar player just start on Instagram and get like 100,000 views on their clips and stuff. It's just cool,
Yeah,
and that's a positive from social media. You know what I mean? When
absolutely.
yeah, the political game on social media is super toxic too. Um,
Yeah,
I feel like everyone's
it's
getting really aggressive because they're stuck in these algorithms and they're just being fed what they
exactly,
want to be fed. And
exactly.
have you seen The
I had
Social
to,
Dilemma on Netflix yet?
yeah,
I
for
haven't.
sure.
I haven't, but I know the message it's spreading. I think a lot
Yeah,
of
I
people
mean,
need to wake up to
it's
that.
yeah, and that was another big part of me getting out of there because so I have been more mindful about whether my thoughts are mine or someone else's. And, I think that is one thing that I used to do that I no longer do, um, is watch like political commentary on YouTube, like from independent creators. Because, you know, when you become disenfranchised with, mainstream news, you go to find independent news and you just kind of assume that it's more pure because it's not regulated and stuff. But what you don't realize is that that's just one person's thoughts,
Well, that's the
you know?
problem with all political media at all. It's all
Yeah.
bias of one direction.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone's getting so split on the east side because everyone's hearing the polarizing. It's really weird.
Yeah. It's fucking dangerous too.
Yeah.
Like most of us want the same shit, man. You
Exactly.
know?
I feel like a lot of us are more middle of the road than we're giving ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of Republican things I see and there's a lot of Democratic things I see that I can kind of
And
get on board with.
that's how most people operate,
Yeah.
the whole football team mentality we've developed over the last 4
Yeah.
years is, you know, I mean, that's how you get shit like, last week with the fucking crazy Capitol Hill shit, It's like I realized that cuz I wanted to help in some way, but I've been more conscious the last year or two about like actions speak louder than words. So I've
Yeah.
just been trying to do a better job myself of listening to people and and listening to people with like they might have something to say that I don't know. Like they might
Yeah.
teach me something I don't know. You know what I mean? This whole binary ones and zero way of looking at things, it's just I don't know. It's not a good time.
Yeah. It's not. It's not at all.
But I think, people will hopefully relax, a little bit now that, homeboy's out. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Is there anything else? There's a typically a section at the end, which I think we've covered most of everything. Where anyone watching right now can talk to you and ask you questions if they would enjoy that.
Cool.
And whilst the questions accumulate, I'll ask. It's funny, we were just talking about this, but I end the podcast with asking, what is the scariest thing about technology to you?
Really?
Yeah.
Scariest thing about
It used to be,
technology.
do you believe in aliens? But everyone just gave me the same bullshit answer. Like,
Uh-huh.
oh, it has to, right? Because the universe. And then I watched this show called Devs. Have you ever seen that?
I've heard really good things about it.
Ooh, it's amazing, dude.
Yeah. It's definitely on my list of ones to check out.
And it makes you think about like the moral compass between how powerful we're getting with technology and how far advanced we're getting quickly. And it just that's more my speed.
Yeah. I think yeah, scariest thing about technology. I think probably everyone gives the same answer, but I think it's just that it doesn't match up with like I mean, technology is a thing. It's us that is a problem. You know what I mean? So the scariest thing about technology is that we don't respect it enough. You know what I mean? We don't we think we have it under control, and I think a lot of bad shit has happened as a result of that. But I don't know. That's a pretty milquetoast bullshit answer.
Ugh. Milk toast. No, the reason I like that question so far is because everyone has had kind of a different answer about it, which I enjoy. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's a good one. I don't know, man. You talk to some people about some of the AI we're creating, and it's becoming not us, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think that yeah, I worry about that shit all the time. Like I worry about
even you as a YouTuber, isn't like the whole algorithm and how much content gets created every second of every day becoming like out of our control? Like YouTube has no real way to even review the content because it's so mass.
Yeah. It's wild. It's fucking wild.
So
like it's incomprehensible how much is out there.
Right.
So I think people talk about like like the whole the topic of censoring on these large platforms, and I was like, you can censor some shit, you know what I mean, if you want to go that route, but like shit's still gonna get through. I feel like the cat's out of the bag, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I sit and I don't do drugs anymore or drink alcohol. So I just go on walks by the beach in the morning and I'll think about, the things I need to get done for my music that day. And then I'll also think about like, are we going to get wiped out by robots and shit?
Polarizing thoughts, dude. We will, but they're going to be jamming to some sick metal, dude.
Yes. But I think that ultimately, and this is what this is the same conclusion I come to at the end of all of these long thinking sessions, which is that like most of this shit is out of my control. So just try to bring something of value to people, be a good person, and try to leave this place better off than it was before. And that's it.
I'm a fan, man.
Thanks for watching my TED Talk.
That's what I want this podcast to be. Everyone's individual TED Talk.
Well, let me tell you what I think. No.
No, I've really enjoyed having you on.
Thanks, man. It was a really good time.
My good moderator and friend Keith said he's planning on getting a job at a brewery soon. Any tips or tricks, comments, or concerns?
Don't drink on the job.
That's a good one.
You think that's common sense? Work at a brewery, dude.
Yeah, no, it does sound like common sense, but I also feel like every friend I've ever had that works at any type of bar.
It starts small, man. You're doing a shift, you're cold turkey, and then like you have this big rush, and you're like, oh fuck, man, I'm tired. And then it's like, we'll just have a little tiny beer shot, Dude, and then that beer shot turns into 9 beer shots.
The same thing happens with coffee too. Like,
oh yeah, big time.
I'm like, oh man, yeah. I didn't have to regulate my caffeine until I started working in coffee, and like. Just like what you said, you have a rush and you're like, oh, I'm just going to take an espresso shot and have a heart attack in a couple minutes.
Yeah, you think of it as like potions in a game. You're like, oh, there's more mobs coming, so I'll just fucking
mash Q over and over again.
Just take another shot real quick. And it doesn't work.
Once again, the toxic video game culture coming out into my real life. How are you enjoying Shadowlands in comparison to the other expansions?
Shadowlands? I think that the developers of that game finally listened to the community and did the very best they could to ship something that addressed all of the issues they had with the previous version of the game. I think it still got problems. I think what a lot of WoW players hope for in each new expansion is to be able to go home again, but you can't go home again. It's never going to be the same. So just play it until it's boring and then leave like a normal person.
Did you enjoy the story? I heard a lot of people were like actually happier with the story this time around.
The story is much more satisfying.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just better. You know what I mean? It's like, it felt like people actually sat in a room for a day and were like, Whereas before it was just like
a day.
Yeah.
A whole day.
It was after the fact. They're like getting all the elements finished and they're just like, oh, wait, what's even happening? There's like dinosaurs and shit. I don't know.
The dinosaurs in that expansion were cool.
They were. They were.
The Jamaican Rastafarian dinosaur Aztec. Yeah.
Don't mess with the voodoo.
Dude, I
Like,
quoted
that
some
real
line from
quick.
that game so much. I only played WoW for a couple of months, but I was just like, what a interesting way to die. I said that like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
What's
It's
the
got
one country you want to tour in the most?
I think Japan, dude.
Yeah, it's the sickest. Let me go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's Japan, man. Like everything about Japan just screams passion. You know what I mean? Like just like no holds barred. Like every band that comes out of there is just fucking savage. And like you go to the the love for especially metal music over there and guitar driven music is super huge.
Dude, not only
So
that, the first time we went to Japan, you know the stigma with local bands. Like you go to a show and you have to hear the local bands, and it's like cool.
yeah.
Like there's some good ones out there, obviously, and that's how they grow into bigger bands. Dude, in Japan they all rip. Every local band that played, I was just like, what the fuck? Like why why is this so sick?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe it's because like their friends and family out there don't just like give them a pat on the back for every little thing that they do, so they really have to like earn their way. They're not like because the local bands in the United States, like 5 out of 10 are just like, yeah. So our mom got us this gig, and we sold the 50 pre-sales, and
Our uncle and all of his friends are in the front row with beers screaming.
and
Yeah.
all 50 of them are gonna leave after we're done. So there you go.
Oh, I missed that shit. Oh man.
Yeah. So I think yeah, Japan, it's the country that I want to visit the most, period.
Right.
So I actually thought about in a more realistic way than anywhere else about planning a Japan vacation where I actually booked some shows like solo, like where I'm just playing in like a coffee shop or some shit, but like with like my miniature setup and just doing my thing. Cause I think they would even fuck with that over there. So,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
Do you have a guilty pleasure artist that you listen to?
Do I have a guilty pleasure or what?
Artist?
Men at work, bro, but I'm not guilty about that shit at all.
Okay.
I come from a land down under.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What inspires you to try new things music-wise?
Dying.
Like like the inevitable darkness of death that falls upon us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I've experienced, well, not to damp the conversation, but I have experienced a lot of death in recent years.
Yeah,
and so it is so you think about it more and you're just like, you know what? Maybe I won't be such a bitch. Maybe I will go on a roller coaster,
Yeah.
because I'm terrified of roller coasters. So
Well, it's good you say that because I mean, I'm sure plenty of people have the opposite effect, right? Like dying is real, so I need to be as careful as possible.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I want to do stuff. So
Yeah.
because I feel like my 20s, I didn't do as much as I could have at the time where it was probably best suited to do those things. So I would like my 30s to be more focused on that. So
I get that, bro. I'm with you, man. I agree on everything you've said.
cool.
let's
Let's start a think tank, bro.
A Shark Tank
Yeah.
for thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long morning for me. James, it's been rad.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're also streaming on Twitch nowadays, right? And
yeah, I stream on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, so you can check out if you check out any of those, I'm gonna be on both Twitch and YouTube posting stuff pretty frequently.
okay,
So.
everyone check that stuff out. Do you have any other like URL or screen names that we need to check out, or is it just your name?
I am currently DMing the guy who has my name, just my name handle on Instagram to get that, but we'll see how that goes. But as of now, it's at _ James Fraser _ is my Instagram, and I'm basically just focusing on Instagram, YouTube, and the streaming I just do because I'm doing that stuff anyways. So, but yeah, I'll be in most of those places.
Cool, man. I'm sure everyone will check you out. Everyone knows you're sick now. Good guy. Yeah, dude. I'll get you playing League with me for sure. Well, I'll get your your
it'll
league
be a good
name.
time, dude.
Yeah. James, it's been
Um,
awesome.
Thank you, brother. It's really nice talking to you. We got to do it again sometime, huh?
For sure, we can. 100%.
And next time Eric comes through town, got to grab some coffee.
2027, dude. Looking forward to it, brother.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, bro. All right, man.
All right, dude.
Good shit, man.
Catch
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man.
Peace.